Palm Bay's growth rulebook has gaps. The 2024 rewrite made one worse. From the Palm Bayer. More than 30,000 housing units are either approved, under construction, or working through Palm Bay's development pipeline right now. That is not a projection. That is the current count. The system responsible for making sure roads, schools, and public services can handle that growth has holes in it. And last year, the city made one of them bigger. In September 2024, Palm Bay completed a full rewrite of its land development code. Ordinance 2024-33 replaced the entire LDC. One section quietly disappeared. The Proportionate Fair Share program was repealed. Nothing replaced it. That program had a simple job. If a development generated more traffic than surrounding roads could handle, the developer paid a calculated share of the fix. The formula was based on actual impact. It was not optional. What replaced it is discretionary. Development agreements can include infrastructure mitigation, but only if the city chooses to negotiate one. No formula, no trigger, no requirement. Lee County still has its Proportionate Fair Share program on the books. Orange County requires a full adequate public facilities agreement before the first building permit issues. Palm Bay had something comparable. The 2024 rewrite took it out. The pipeline numbers make the gap harder to ignore. About 9,264 residential units are approved or under construction. Another 21,133 are in the review pipeline. Each goes through concurrency review individually at the moment it applies. The system does not account for approved projects not yet built. Each review is a snapshot. St. Johns County publishes an interactive map of all active development applications. Palm Bay has nothing comparable. The pressure on schools tells the same story from a different angle. Brevard County measures school concurrency using attendance zones called concurrency service areas, or CSAs. A development can pass if adjacent CSAs have available capacity, even when the local school is already full. A developer can build hundreds of homes in South Palm Bay and pass because seats exist in an adjacent CSA. That is not a hypothetical. Brevard Public Schools projects West Side Elementary at 118% of fish permanent capacity by 2026 through 2027. Sunrise Elementary at 117%. Bayside High at 103%. When every school in a growth corridor hits capacity at once, there may be no adjacent zone with room left. Hillsborough County fixed this. Its school concurrency ordinance prohibits using an adjacent CSA if that zone is already at 95% of fish capacity. Portable classrooms do not count. Capacity certification is required before a building permit issues. Palm Bay's code includes none of those provisions. Other cities have built tools Palm Bay does not have. Pasco County ties mobility fees to geography. St. Cloud requires large developments to prove they will not create a net loss on the city budget. Lee County publishes an annual concurrency report with a 3-year capacity projection. Port St. Lucia charges $516 per unit for governmental service buildings. Palm Bay exempts government buildings from impact fees entirely. All of these gaps converged on one case, the Lotus development. Came before the Palm Bay City Council on March 19, 2026. The staff report contained no concurrency analysis, no school evaluation, no police evaluation, no fire evaluation. Staff recommended approval under PMU design standards. The council denied it, 5-0, citing police and fire concurrency standards from Chapter 172, standards the staff report never addressed. Section 172.080 requires a preliminary concurrency evaluation at rezoning. The binding determination does not happen until the FDP or building permit stage.
The council was left making a judgment call on a record that contained no analysis. The code's gaps produced exactly the outcome those gaps were supposed to prevent. Phase 2 of the LDC update is scoped as a targeted cleanup. 4 public feedback workshops are the mechanism for residents to tell Inspire Placemaking and the Growth Management Department what the code should address. Workshop 3 covers community development. Growth Management Director Althea Jefferson and Assistant Director Deborah Flynn are the staff leads. They acknowledged receipt of written input submitted before Workshop 2. The LDC does not get rewritten every year. Ordinance 2024-33 was the first full rewrite in a generation. Phase 2 is the window to add what was missed and restore what was removed. The city had a proportionate fair share program for years. It knows how to write that kind of provision. It has done it before. Workshop 3 is April 8th, 2026 at 4 p.m. at City Hall. It is free and open to the public. Written comments can also be submitted to the Growth Management Department by email. Read the full article and source documents at thepalmbear.com. This is The Palm Bear.